Look here. Looks like we got some of our favorite people on the show tonight. Man, I cannot wait till we introduce them in a little bit. Anyway, before we get the show started, I want to say what's up to all my people. What's up, Eric? How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, man. What's going on, everybody? Everybody doing good today?
Eric got a new location, man. You out and about?
I'm traveling. That's how we do it.
I like how that sun sitting on the sun sitting on your face so gently.
Sunset, that sun kiss.
I like it. I like it.
Rebrand
us. Open my blinds real quick. Let me open my blinds real quick.
Hey, what's up, Ace? How you doing tonight?
What's up, world? How everybody doing? We doing good over here. What's up, rebrandUS? And what's up, guest?
Hey, look, Kim is out. Kim will be back next week. We're excited to have her. We got a whole new crew tonight. We're going to introduce them in just a little bit. But first, y'all, we're talking marriage tonight. Marriage. A lot of us on this panel are married. A lot of us on this panel have an opinion. We're not talking our marriage. We're talking marriage in the way it's supposed to be, at least based on our opinion. What y'all think? Y'all think it's going to be a good subject? Let me tell you how this came about. Last week, me and Eric saw y'all do this show on Thursday night on their show, Talkin Wellness. Y'all know all about these guys. I'm saying roughly the same time at 7 o'clock p.m. They did this show last week, and we thought it was amazing. They did this show. It got heated. They had differences of opinions. We thought it was amazing because they were coming from directions that we just didn't know or think about. And so we decided to have this show and then bring them back on. So what y'all think? Y'all think we can bring back some of that same flavor from last week?
Oh, for surely.
Most definitely.
As long as y'all ain't turning up no furniture now. No furniture turning up and nothing like that now.
Man. Helen better leave me alone this week. I done had a bad week. I ain't fooling with Helen.
Man, I got access to her Wi-Fi. I just cut it off on her.
Don't do that. Okay. Don't do that. Don't do that. What we're not gonna do is this. Hang up. It's too early.
She in California, y'all. So it might be early for her, but for us, it's a little late.
Helen's Wi-Fi password is honestly light skinned.
Hi.
Oh, my bad. I just gave everybody your Wi-Fi password.
Honestly.
You need free
Talking
Wi-Fi.
marriage, we're talking wellness, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have fun. We want to make sure that everybody go to their Facebook page. Go ahead and share the page right now. Share.
Share this page.
There we go. Y'all make sure you share. Tell a friend, tell that friend to tell a friend. Hey, look, I don't own the rights to anything we're going to play tonight. So just go ahead and know that. People, if you want to sue me, don't sue me because we're not making any money. I don't have any money for you. Just send me an email, and what I'll do is just take it down. But I don't own any rights to anything. We want you, the viewers, to make sure you comment. Let's have fun with this tonight because tonight we're talking marriage. Maybe somebody can learn something. We're talking black marriage as well. So we'll see y'all in a minute.
Webster's dictionary defines wedding as the fusing of two metals with a hot torch. Well, you know something? I think you guys are two metals, gold medals.
All right,
that was nice.
Let's get the show started. All right, so the Bible said God saw how alone Adam was, and he made woman. He said it's not good for man to be alone, so God gave us marriage. There's a lot we can say about marriage. Quite honestly, we could probably do a part 2, probably do a part 3, but tonight we want to focus on who is marriage for, the roles in a marriage, and how important it is, if at all, how important it is, if at all, if religion, oh God, I messed all that up. Anyway, listen here, fun fact, happily married people are more productive at work and more satisfied with life. I think that's the model God had in mind when he made woman. Cohabitating, by the way, is not marriage. Happiness after marriage means you were probably happy before marriage. And the happiest marriages are between best friends. here to discuss marriage with us. And with their hit podcast, you've seen them on this show before. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for three of the most lovely people we know, Talkin Wellness. What's up?
What's up, y'all?
Hey.
What up?
All right, so we're talking wellness. We're talking marriage. We're talking wellness tonight. So we're going to enjoy ourselves. Hey, we want everybody out there listening to go ahead and start sending in your notes. Tell us what you think about marriage. We're going to jump right on in this thing. I got Eric. Let's pull him back in real quick. All right, let's get to the questions real quick. All right, I'm going to pull the music down. I'm going to get to the very first question. And I just want y'all to go ahead and define what is marriage. We saw that video. He told us what a wedding is. He defined welding, but he told us what that is. What is marriage?
So I'll go ahead and step on in it. I actually used to believe like marriage was really a union. It was a partnership. It was something that two people who were in love did. And then the older I got and the marriages I start to see and the conversations I would start to hear about marriages and how people handled their disgruntlements and all the cheating and all the lying, all the blase. So my current opinion today, marriage is a government contract. That's really all it is. It's a contract that you sign with the government.
Wow.
Okay.
That's probably going to be the best.
In today's world, that's what marriage is. That's what I see it as.
Put it on paper.
It's going to be one of the best. Let's go to the comments real quick. They said, really? I guess probably because I was jacking up my reading. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, what do y'all think? Give me marriage, fellas.
I think it's a bond that I think we were given to each other by God. That's what's supposed to be going on. I think it's a union between man and woman to share of each other, to enjoy each other as helpmates and companions, and to be fruitful,
multiply.
Yeah.
Okay.
And have sex without going to hell.
Yeah, I did. Hey, I definitely agree. That was actually the same route I was gonna go down. I was definitely gonna highlight the between the man and woman, but as time has gone on, society has twisted that thing to where you have the man and man, woman and woman, man and his favorite horse, or however they want to do it. I don't judge. My thing is I'm a strong believer in free will. I think God doesn't interrupt our free will, so how can man? But I definitely agree with what Ace was saying and with Helen. Well, part of what Helen was saying. Helen know I love her, but I think historically, I truly believe marriage has always been a legal and formal union between a man and woman.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna say I'm gonna take it down this route. I'm gonna contradict myself a few times, but I just want to put a disclaimer out there that everything that I get my basis from and my foundation from in marriage is biblical. So I may contradict it because I'm a human being, but I'm still going to base it on the foundations of biblical principles. And with that said, marriage is a covenant that a man and woman enter into under God.
All right, so me and Eric had this conversation. I also had this conversation with my mom, but she corrected me. I said, if God said to Adam that it's not good for man to be alone, he created marriage, right? I guess we could probably all somewhat agree on that part. So if this is given to us by God, is marriage for the sinners? Is marriage for the people who don't believe in God? So in other words, if you got two Christian people who believe in God, right? And then they get married, they have laws that they have to abide by. But if you have two people who don't believe in God and they get married, do they have to abide by those same laws? Now, me and my mom discussed this, but I'm going to go ahead. Like, for example, if you cheat on your wife, is that a sin to people who don't believe in God?
I don't know if Ace. I see Ace want to say something.
No, it's deep. I'm sitting
here
taking it. I'm sitting here taking it in. That's a deep question right there.
I take it right here. Cedric said it. Anytime we mention God, we have to first. I never look at people mix Christianity with religion. So I never mix Christianity and religion together. The word Christianity means relationship. That's what Christianity means. So then you cannot be a Christian if you do not have a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so there are a lot of people who believe in the religious point of views of marriage. And but we got to understand, marriage is based on your relationship with Jesus Christ as well. So how you handle Jesus, how you treat Jesus, how you spend time with him is going to really make a difference between whether or not you have success in your marriage. Can people who are not Christians, can they engage in things that were meant, really the Bible is meant for all people, except some people are just not going to receive it, but it's meant for all people. But free will allows people to go out and do whatever they want. Now, God has put this disclaimer in the Bible that whatsoever you sow, you shall also reap. He has put it his disclaimer in the Bible that what goes around comes around. Treat others how you would like to be treated. All of these different things. So then what one person may get into marriage and say, well, this is how we view marriage. We don't care what nobody else say. And that's their right. That is their God-given right to choose that path. But for those who choose Christianity and wish to follow Jesus Christ, the Bible is clear that we must follow the word of God. He's laid down the foundation and principles of marriage in the word.
Okay, let's go to the comments.
Facts.
Facts.
A collection
That's what I was trying to say. We also have, it's supposed to be a promise, according to Kim Dial, and also she says it depends on the reason you get married. All right, anybody else want to make a comment on that? You said that you don't want to get religion and Christianity mixed up.
Exactly.
Religion is really just tradition. That's all it really is.
And
okay,
rituals.
So,
yes.
Exactly. Right. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and move on to one of our next questions. Traditional marriage. This might take y'all back. What is it? What is a traditional marriage? What are the roles of a marriage? Helen, you are a woman. Someone says, oh, you know what? I'm gonna move you, Helen. I'm putting you in the middle. You are a woman. Someone says to you, you have, in order to be a wife, you must
cook. Like being on top.
You must clean. You must do all the things that a traditional woman, marriage, wife, whatever, does. How does that suit you?
How does that sit in my spirit? It sit there, but that's about all it do. So listen,
but at least it's sitting there though.
It's sitting there. And listen, yeah. I'm not married. So I don't know if anyone else is. I think I'm the only one that's not married on this panel. Am I right or wrong? Eric and Ace. Oh. Anyways.
All married.
I'm Polly. I have 3.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
Is that in the Bible?
I knew that had been something.
Oh yeah.
Is polygamy in the Bible though?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation. But so to me, I can't speak on. I feel like I really can't speak on what a traditional marriage looks like because 1, I'm not married, and 2, I don't think I've actually had very good representation of marriages, and so traditional to me is what in my mind I would want my marriage to be. That's gonna be my tradition.
There you go. Tell your truth.
I can't. I would say what I hear preached is that, you want someone to be able to take care of the house, which is usually the wife, and someone that is the primary breadwinner, which is usually the husband. And somewhere in between that, y'all have things in common. So you do things together. You enjoy each other's time. You enjoy doing things together. You build connections. You build relationships, networks outside of that marriage. And then you procreate. And then you start that over. You pass down good traditions, good values, morals, and you add to society by birthing, women birthing human beings and starting that process over. But I don't think that, to me, a traditional marriage does not have to be the wife makes a home. I think there are plenty of men who could make a home, and the woman can be the breadwinner, especially in today's society with so many people being entrepreneurs. But I don't think that's what we think of, or America thinks of when we say traditional marriage.
So Helen, I'm curious, by you being on a woman on the show right now, and we appreciate you being on for sure. Hearing what you said about your representation of marriage so far, and I think a lot of people on this panel, if I could say, they have negative representation of what marriage looks like, especially in society today. I'm curious, how are you looking forward to getting married? Is something you really want to do in the future?
That is a great question. I am very nonchalant about marriage, to be honest. I am more concerned with, am I happy in my relationship? And if I'm happy in my relationship, I don't feel like me getting married is going to signify that. If I'm happy, I know I'm happy. I don't need to get a ring, have a whole ceremony, and pronounce it to my close loved ones. I'm happy, which also kind of leads me to when people are like, well, you've been engaged for so long. Why aren't you married yet? Why are we rushing to get married? If our relationship is happy and stable and healthy, what is me putting a ring on your finger going to change? And why are you rushing to that solidifying that we happy? Are you rushing to the altar? That confuses me. And if you're doing this because you want your friends like I'm married, my coworkers, my family, that's a different conversation. Like, talk to me about that. Then okay, if you just doing this because you want people to know it, then I might be open to it because I love you and this makes you happy. Let's do it. But if you think us getting married is going to solidify we're really happy, we got bigger problems, baby. That's a problem, and we need to talk about it.
Hey, I like that. I like that angle. I think so. I listen to Helen, and I take her. You know, I guess what's the proper word? Demographics. We have to say educated on her.
Mm-hmm,
You know, her age group and stuff like that. And then let's bring it back to marriage. So we're talking about traditional marriage and what is marriage, and things like that. I'm listening to Helen speak her truth, and I can't deny or disagree with her because of her demographics. But think of her reasoning being as a result of the marriage that she's been shown, as far as society. You know, what has traditional marriage become? What has marriage, you know, how is marriage being displayed? How is marriage being presented? And there you go. You know, her ideology and how she feels, like she said, is from what she sees. And you take her, you know, we're here now, fellas, you know, our generation, but you know, we like a generation above. So we saw our ideal of the traditional marriage, you know, the Cosby Show, and you know, some of us had 2-parent homes, stuff like that. I used to be amazed by people 2-parent homes when I was growing up.
Hello.
But you know, we saw that. But you know, you bring it on to Helen's generation, and she's spot on for her generation. Like, what have they saw to think otherwise?
So let's go to the comments real quick. It says, it is not New Testament. They get really religious on us. That's Deborah Goodson, I guarantee you. It's not about the relationship and not the religion. Deborah Goodson also says polygamy is wrong.
So I got to go divorce 2 of my wives.
So on rebrandUS, we talk a lot about you know, the fact that they don't teach us how to budget, the fact that they don't teach us stuff in school and all these different things. And so thus they control us because we're in debt and so forth and so on. Is that something that they should teach in school, marriage, or maybe even Sunday school? Is marriage something they should teach so that we can get it right and maybe the economy will become much better?
Nah, I don't, because that's too much of a. I think that's something that has to be picked up on a personal level. So I think your immediate family is the closest to you that can be brought on that personal level. Because you know, you got some people you might think they got the ideal marriage, but he slap his wife around sometimes. You know, you don't want to don't want to get that. And something, okay, so I can hit her like 3 times a week, as long as I don't do 5. You know, and things like that. So now I think your immediate family is where you have to get that from.
You know, when Anthony, when you just asked that question, first thing I thought about with me being in education, I thought about teaching and how they try to train teachers before they go in the classroom. And I always say, teaching is something that you just got to go through it, like because I can't really explain to you what it's like standing in front of those kids, and you got 2 kids here that pay attention, 5 over there that ain't listening to what you're saying, 6 over there is gonna cuss you out if you ask them to do something. So you have to go through it. So with the marriage, I don't think that's something that you can teach. You just have to go through it and I look at my personal example. I had both my parents, but it was not an ideal. Growing up, my parents never slept in the same room. And I thought that was normal until I went to my friend's house and his parents slept in the same room. And I'm looking at him like, where they going? You know what I mean? Like it tripped me out. So my stuff wasn't normal. But the route that I went was, I was like, okay, I need to do different than what I saw because that wasn't normal. And then a lot of things that I saw, when I tried to bring that into my marriage, me and my wife bumped heads because me and my wife are not my mom and dad. It's completely different. You know what I mean? And then when you kind of going back to the traditional, I saw my mom cook, clean, take care of the house. As I got older, my experience in my marriage, I was like, okay, the word we throw out is submissive. So I had to put a twist on that. For me, cooking, cleaning, and all that, that's just a well-run, organized house. Hell, I can cook, I can clean. So when I think of submissive, I go a whole different level with that. I go in the level of me as a man. I have a relationship with God. God gives me a vision. You as my wife, I need you to trust me in my alignment with God, and you just follow right in that alignment. So the cooking, cleaning, me and my mom, we had that conversation. That was traditional for her.
Mm-hmm.
When I got married, I'm like, say, baby, my mama, she cooked, she cleaned, she did it. You know how these sisters do. Well, go do your mama then. Whoa, wait a minute, hold up. So yeah, I had to learn on the fly. So yeah, marriage is definitely something that you can't really teach. There are some foundation pieces though, like whenever they say communication is key. Those foundation pieces, yes, you can pass those on, but every experience is just different.
But I think what's normal. What's normal in a marriage? Because I hear it all the time. My wife, she tells me things she hears normal in other relationships. For me, this feels normal. I saw this with my parents. What exactly is? How do you find out what normal is? That's a very interesting question to me, because no two marriages really should look alike. Wouldn't y'all think?
Yeah, I think normal is everybody has their own normal, what they comfortable with. Like said how he saw his parent. I'm from a 2-parent home, but my father is married, has an outside. I mean, he has a wife, but at the same time, my normal was I grew up with my dad. Am I on? I'm sorry, y'all. It's crazy with my internet. But I grew up with a father that had a wife, but I grew up with my mom in my household. But then I grew up with my father's mistress in her household. That was normal for me. My wife is actually my first real relationship, because my whole life, I grew up, seeing that. So it was like my dad and his woman, my dad and his wife, me and my mama, and then a couple other ladies sprinkled around, on the outside there. But that's normal to me. That was normal.
I think you got to be careful with the word normal, because as Ace was saying, I mean, normal to me is anything that's healthy. I think what's more important is, do we recognize what's abnormal? I think that's more important. You have a lot of kids who are growing up today and their parents are very abusive toward one another, and they think that's normal, and they don't understand that's unhealthy. If your mom smoked crack 2 or 3 times a week, and you sitting here watching her do it, and you think that's normal, so then to me, normal can be defined as many different things. Just like I always, I admire families who say, let's just pick up and let's just move overseas somewhere. Let's go stay in Spain. Let's go stay in Italy. Let's go stay somewhere else, Belize, or let's go somewhere else and stay. We don't have to live in America. We live in America all our lives. We choose to raise our kids abroad. And so I can appreciate families who choose to do that. I can even appreciate families who say, I don't even want to stay in a house. We're going to stay in an RV. We're going to stay in an RV. We're going to live a minimalist lifestyle. We're going to cut down on bills, all of that stuff. I can appreciate that too.
That's a good point, because tradition, how I was brought up, is house, right? Well, what if I don't want a house? What if I want to live in an apartment? What if me and my wife we okay with living in an apartment because I don't want to have to worry about cutting grass?
Yeah.
But growing up, it was gotta get home. You gotta get home. So Ty, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Let's get back to this mamas that smoke crack. Is that why they moving out of the country?
Man, it might be, man.
That's another show. That's another show.
Yeah.
Hey, look, coming up in a little bit, we have Rebrand What, if we can get Eric back in. Very excited to hear what he has going on. I got a few questions, or actually, I got a few little facts that I wanted to tell you guys. Check this out. I'm reading it from my phone. It says married couples need to spend more time together, and only the average couple spends, it says here, according to imom.com, 4 minutes a day. I don't believe that per day. No, that's not, because even if I spend an hour on Saturday, that's averages out more than that. It says marrying a partner from an affair rarely works out. Over 75% of people who marry partners from an affair eventually get a divorce.
No surprise
Marrying
there.
young.
I can't believe your cheating ass cheated on me.
Yeah, right.
Oh, good. Nah, where she got that fire? You know, nah, I don't agree with that. Yeah, I might
Yeah,
stay.
like-
Nah.
Like, what they snappy nappy?
Yeah. Nah.
But you know, I guess they assume if you cheated once, you cheat twice. I don't know. Marrying young is a greater risk. It says marrying younger than 25 dramatically raises the divorce risk. Also,
I agree
the
with that.
divorce risk is higher when the woman is much older than the man, though the reverse isn't as much a factor. I think Lionel Richie's wife is 40 years younger than him. So what do y'all think about those?
I'm gonna be quick with this. When you say marrying young, you mean somebody marrying someone significantly younger than them?
I would imagine that means 10 years or more.
R. Kelly didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, so my thing is, then we go back to what's normal. For some people, what's wrong with that? I would rather you marry, if you're 32 and you marry a 22-year-old, I'd rather you do that than what R. Kelly did. Okay, I'd rather you know what I'm saying? As long as she's legal. Now here's the something that we might want to discuss, and I think people who do decide to marry 10 years younger or more is why. Because I've oftentimes heard people say, I want to train her. You know what I'm saying? I want to marry younger because I want to train her.
You got to elaborate that now. I mean, how many friends does he have, or is he?
Exactly. So,
that's
I mean,
that's a different train.
But you know what? Let me put this in y'all's ear. We're gonna go to break in about 3 minutes. Coming back with rebrand. Let me put this.
You know what I mean?
Only H, y'all. Don't worry about it. Say it. You got to get used to. But does marriage beget marriage? Does marriage beget marriage? If a son sees his father married, does he marry?
Yeah, I think I think all of us have kind of touched on that. You kind of practice what you see, or you emulate what you see. If you grew up in a 2-parent household, do you think that's normal? And real quick, I want to say maybe I would be interested to see what different conversations we would have if we replaced normal with common. What's a common marriage look like? What does a common woman in a marriage look like versus traditional? Because I think marriages have a lot in common. Like, I hear a lot of men complain about the same thing about their wives, and women complain about the same thing about their husbands. So I think maybe, I'd be interested to see if common changes the narrative around the conversation.
I think common is a baseline. Normal is an expectation. You say, "Well, this is normal." That's what they're expecting. This is what they're thinking, but it's not really true.
You must have this stuff wrote down somewhere.
He was quick with that one.
Hey, he went beyond getting a master's degree. He got a doctorate and everything. You going?
One of those.
I'll send you a how.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna talk a whole lot more about this marriage thing. Hey, keep the comments coming. It's not really a comment-driven night, I don't guess, but anyway, keep them coming. We'd love to hear what you got to say. Rebrand What is coming up next. Eric, give us a little taste of what you're gonna talk about.
Well, we talk about surviving and thriving, right? So we can talk about that a little bit within the marriage.
Oh, well, I can't wait. See y'all in a bit.
rebrandUS. It's motivating, inspiring. It's a conversation that needs to be had. It's Adrian, the Ace Stinson.
If you're not gonna help, don't hurt.
Eric Rusher.
We need financial literacy. We also need to get over this level of fear that we have.
Anthony Goodson.
That my ancestors, whether they were slaves, innovators, or the first blacks to do something, their lives had a purpose.
It's unique to any other podcast. It's Rebrand You, Rebrand Me. It's rebrandUS.
Rebrand.
I think that definitely is the foundation of for everything. Because if you don't have love or a passion for something, you're not going to fight towards it. My kids are very young still at this point, 4 and 2. However, teaching them respect themselves, respecting each other. rebrandUS missions basically is to help empower Black people to envision ourselves as better people.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us right now is our main man, Eric Russell, with a quick minute of rebrand. What you got, Eric?
Quick minute tonight. Yeah, just wanted to kind of touch on. We talk about survival and thriving a lot. We're talking about financial and household things of that nature. I believe marriage was built so we can learn to thrive. You come into a marriage already healthy and whole and healed, and your partner comes in healthy, whole, and healed. You can't do nothing but thrive, right? But I think about how we get to the point where we thrive. We talking about financial. We're talking about you building habits. You building financial habits. You building budgeting habits. You building those kind of habits, right? So if you want a healthy marriage so you can thrive, what habits are you building individually for yourself right now? Are you learning how to communicate healthy? Are you learning how to argue positively in a way that somebody can hear you? Are you modeling for your kids how you should handle certain things? So what do you build? How are you building your habits at this point in order to build, in order to thrive in your marriage? So if you can do those things, get to the point where you can thrive in your marriage, you don't have to just survive a marriage. Marriage was not built to be a death sentence or a jail sentence. God or whoever you believe in, right, or whatever you believe in, marriage is built for us to love and to build joy and to build life together. So I want us all to think about how we can learn to thrive in marriage and not just survive it.
Very nice, love it.
That's real.
It's an active work in progress, right? You have something you have to be working on all the time. Hey, look here, in just a minute, I want to put together the perfect ingredients of a great marriage. Not a good marriage, but a great marriage. I want y'all to think about it for a second. We're going to have like 6 seconds. The perfect ingredients of a great marriage. I want the audience to tell us what they think as well. All right, so the perfect ingredients of a great marriage. It didn't go long like I thought. It says, well said, Eric Russell. Well said, Eric Russell. I'm not sure who that is. All right, so if I had to put together
Juanita Goodson, come on down.
We're looking at like a pie. You know, it needs sugar, it needs flour, it needs milk, it needs all these things to make a pie. My favorite pie, one of them is cheesecake. Some stuff needs more than others. Well, it's not really a pie. I guess it's a cake.
Sorry, I never heard it referred to as a pie before. You just threw me off. Sorry.
But it's not really a cake, though. I mean, what is it? A custard? What is?
It's a cheesecake.
That's a good question. It's a hybrid. It's a hybrid.
Not. It's in the name. It's a cake.
Have you ever had what's it called? Baklava?
I have.
See, there's some certain cakes out there, certain desserts that don't have as much sugar. Some don't have as much flour. Some needs more, I guess, vanilla or whatever the case may be. But marriage has to have the perfect something, apparently, because you have an out. So if we had to put together the perfect ingredients to a marriage, think about it. I'm really just stalling right now because I want y'all to have y'all's, whatever y'all think, because I'm going first. It's going to get hard once you get to that last person. But I think the number one thing you have to have, and I know what Helen is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and say respect. If you have respect, number one, that goes a long way. Said, I see you talk about this on y'all show all the time, but respect. I'm still stalling. I do believe that if you have respect, it eliminates a whole lot of other stuff. Because if I respect you, I won't curse you out. If I respect you, I won't cheat on you. If I respect you, then we'll go down this line together. I may be angry and we can have conversations, but respect it'll go all the way. Helen, what's number 2?
Yeah, so I will wholeheartedly say if you do not have this, it's going to be a rough marriage. You have to be open-minded. And I am learning, I'm not married, but I am in a long-term relationship. To be honest, we've been able to continue to grow because he's been open-minded. Like, not to say I'm the best thing he's ever had, but I am. Like, I've had to teach him how to love me and also how to just like low-key love women properly. Like, you're not gonna talk to me any kind of way because that's how you talk to your family. You're not gonna do what you want to do because that's what your parents let you get away with. It's different here. And him being open-minded he'll let his chest puff out, say he got to say, but at the end of the day, he changes his behavior because he's open-minded, or he know you ain't gonna be married for real. Like if you don't figure some. So I really do think if you're not open-minded and you think it always has to be your way, or no way, you're not gonna last long in a marriage. Because whether you want to admit it or not, at some point, and not at some point, but we all change a little bit. You have to adapt to new environments. You have to adapt to new situations. You adapt to your partner, and you don't change as a whole person, but you change small things. Your partner like it cold at night. You've always slept with it hot. You turn on that AC every night or every other night, or you compromise on when you sleep cold. That's a change. So people like, I don't never change. Yes, you do, boo. If you in a healthy marriage, yes, you do.
That's not what I thought you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say something else. I can't say
I know.
One of the fellas may take it. Let me go to the comments, and I'm stalling again, fellas. So y'all think about y'all's. Janique Bird, my main girl, she said, "God, respect, unconditional." She giving y'all a whole list of them. Unconditional love, grace, understanding, and have fun with each other. So
she done made the whole cake.
Yeah. God has to be first. The husband is to love his wife as Christ loves the church. The wife has to honor her husband. Respect is the greatest thing in a marriage. Kim Dial, I can't read. Eric, what's next?
I'm gonna go a little something unconventional, I guess. I'm gonna say space, because I think the time that you spend with your partner should be well intended, and I think it should be very intentional. But I also think that space that you have to be individual self as well, because the whole adage is marriage is 50-50. Marriage is 100-100, actually, in my opinion. So if you come in, like I said earlier, if you come in as a half person, you expect somebody else to fill you up to be the whole, you're not going to be very successful in that situation. So you have to continue being the individual self, and one way to do that is continue to have that space. So
go ahead, Eric.
In that place, though, you need to be respectful what kind of space you have, of course, but you definitely need just space where you can just take time for yourself.
Like, maybe I'll be home Tuesday.
Hey, I'm gonna say, man, I want to just throw mine in right quick.
Hey, look, I'm going from host to host. I'm gonna let the host be last.
Oh, go ahead. Who next?
So we got respect, open-minded, space. So I'm gonna throw this common ingredient in there, but I'm gonna say healthy communication. Communication, and it has to be healthy. And because I always say a disagreement does not mean an argument.
Say it again.
So a disagreement does not mean an argument. Healthy communication is somebody's listening to learn, not listening to respond. There's love here, so I'm not getting defensive when you bring something to the table. If I'm doing something that's causing you pain, hurt, whatever, I'm not getting defensive. I'm listening to learn my partner. So healthy communication.
Right along with respect. I love it. Ace.
Great philosopher once said, not 70-30, not 60-40. Talking about a 50-50. But Eric ramped that up, so we're gonna score that. We're gonna multiply that by 2. But I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this right. So I have to use 2 words. You have to be unselfish.
Selfless.
You didn't know if you were pronouncing that right?
No, I didn't want to say selfishness or
unselfishness. Selfless.
Unselfish.
Unselfish. Okay.
And I don't want the grammar police. I'm already still working on how to pronounce 4.
Not so?
Yeah.
All right. And let's go from host to host. Tahosi. Go ahead and round it off for us.
Man, let me see where I want to start with this, man. Listen, first, I have to respect the fact that not everybody is Christian, and they're not. Because you have some non-Christian marriages that they've been married longer than Christians. So you have some non-Christians who are very successful in their marriage. So some people are going to say God is the most important part of a marriage, and I would agree with that. God is the most important part of a marriage. But secondly, next to that, there is a word, and it's been said before, there is a word that is used several times, I believe over 100 times in the Bible, and that is love. That is love. If you do not have love, I look at it this way. The store The grocery store is love. I
Yeah.
go to the grocery store to get my ingredients. But without the store, none of the ingredients, I wouldn't be able to get none of that. I wouldn't be that wouldn't even matter. I am able to communicate effectively with you because I love you. I respect you because I love you. I come home at night because I love you. I go to work and make a check because I love you and I love myself too. So then love is the greatest part in a marriage. When you hear some couples and you got husband, you B, and you know what the B part mean, right? And then she calling him you broke, and you know what I'm saying? And she
I
using
don't know
that
what
and
the
all
B
that.
is.
You know what the B mean.
I
We'll
don't
tell you
know.
later. We'll tell you later, Helen. We'll tell you later.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
one I
if,
showed
if
last
don't
week.
nobody on this show know what the B mean, Helen knows what the B mean.
If you calling your wife a B, and to me, that's not love. If you are abusing your spouse, that's not love. You know, so that's why I say love to me is the most important thing, because once I have love, I'm willing to work on everything else because of love.
I think you're accurate too, but just to even go a little further, a lot of people confuse that word love with romanticism. It's got to be you gotta give me roses, you gotta give me that love. You talking about the action word. Okay, everything you talked about, you did it with love. So if I'm going to work, if I'm talking to you right, all that's in the action of love. So I think got to make that very clear to people that romanticism is great.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a main ingredient. It helps sweeten the cake a little bit more, but it's not necessarily a main ingredient.
And I think all married couples can attest to the sex is better when I love you as well. Sex is better when there is love. Otherwise,
I don't know.
I agree with you, Ty.
yeah.
I hear you.
Because
Hey.
if it ain't no love, we just laying on top of each other.
Ty, man, I didn't. Hey, without getting myself in trouble, boy, I've had some situations, boy. Listen, with no love involved.
Yeah.
But anyway,
some say the sex is overrated, but they just ain't doing it right.
That's
That's a ludicrous line. I don't know what he's talking about, but
I definitely.
no, you know what? I think, in my opinion, with love, it's not understood. Like, since television has come, we see I Love Lucy and all these different shows where you see married couples and the Brady Bunch and that probably wasn't the most popular one, but the Cosby Show. All these married couples. Well, we see love. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not even now. That's horrible. But we see love on television, and that's the expectation of our love, and that's not what love is. That is television. Right? I don't know about the Jeffersons either. But
I was making a joke on that one. He came home to Weezy every night, though.
Yeah, he loved Weezy. Ain't no doubt about it. He had to. Just like James loved Florida.
He had love.
Hey, now if you want to know what love is, what you just said, James in Florida, that's love.
That's love. That's unconditional love.
That man married. He married a woman that looked just like his daddy. You know that.
That's how you know that's love.
Y'all feel ashamed of yourselves. Don't do that.
So one of the common themes of the night, we've been talking about religion quite a bit. It's been spread out throughout the entire conversation. So let's talk religion in relationships for a minute. What if you are Muslim and your spouse is Christian or something else? Can that work?
No.
So I'm gonna ask Helen specifically, and then of course the fellas, you can answer that. You got a guy who had, because eventually you're thinking about having kids. See, marriage is about family. You know, eventually you're gonna have kids, and once you have these children, your beliefs are gonna have to be pushed down, or they don't have to be, but you're gonna push your beliefs down on your children, right? It's the same as, I guess, politics and all that. I'm not gonna just ask Helen. Anybody who wants to answer, tell me your opinion on that.
I'm gonna have to agree with Ty. I would, if it works, it's going to take a lot of work, and I almost would bet that someone's getting converted, because if religion is how it is described to be, it is not something you just switch on and off. Oh, you Muslim now? I guess I'm gonna learn the way. Like, you literally, it's what I say, traditions, it's rituals, it's roles, it's ingrained in you. It's a way of life. And a Muslim and a Christian, there's a lot of overlap in but Muslims pray, don't they? Like at certain times, Christians don't pray throughout the day. They go to church on Sunday, maybe.
Yes, we
Well,
do.
like they don't go on the mat. They don't go on the mat and pray and do all the things. Well, that's not how you see it. So if y'all do all that, then maybe Muslim and Christian has more in common. But I think unless your religion is like Baptist Christian and New Age Christian, like the other type of Christians, Baptist, what is it? Baptist, Methodist,
Methodist, Pentecost,
yeah. Like
Kojic,
if it's,
Church of
I
God in
feel,
Christ.
yeah. I don't think you can marry with two different religions, or I don't think it'll be a very easy marriage. I think that's going to be a very big hurdle. Because to your point, when you have kids, that's where you really gonna see. Oh, actually, I don't like that y'all go to church on Sunday. Sunday should be at home where we do X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z. Because what I've been doing in my family for years. So I won't say it's impossible, but I would bet that someone is going to get converted.
I would to jump in here right quick. I would say it can't work. First of all, the Bible talks about two people being unequally yoked, and that's specifically what it means. You believe in two different things.
Yeah.
So that's for the Christian that wants to stick to Christianity. Secondly, Muslims have a lot of traditions and rituals, whereas being a Christian is more about building a relationship with Jesus Christ. And so Helen was right when she says somebody's going to have to be converted. But here's the thing. I like to swim, but I don't like to swim upstream. And so I believe that to be in a relationship like that, you swimming upstream from the very beginning, because if you two are focused on building a life together, at some point your two belief systems are going to collide. And then I think it's going to become the whole reason and basis and foundation of the relationship, and then bringing kids into that kind of confusion. I would advise a person not to even get themselves into that trap. I would rather you date somebody with the same belief system as you, and maybe one of y'all are not as committed to it as the other, but at least you still believe the same thing.
Hey, Red Fox, go back and watch Harlem Nights. Red Fox said something about somebody being converted. It take a mean one to convert. It take a mean
change
one to convert.
gods.
Yeah, change God. But I say absolutely can't work. With that being said, is from the example I said earlier, growing up, my father's Baptist. His wife's Seventh-day Adventist. It doesn't work. That's fine. I mean, even through conversation with him, throughout periods in my life as an adult, doesn't work. That's one of the divides, one of the separators right there. He's at church on Sundays by himself. She's at church on Saturdays by herself. Still a little, believe in the same God, things like that, but just a little quirks in there that still make us a little different, and it just doesn't. It doesn't work as far as compatibility.
I'll say this real quick and I'll be done with it. I agree with what everybody's saying. I know some couples that got some mixed religions and stuff, and it's really tough on them for real. But I'll say this: it's tough enough being a Christian, going to the same Christian type church, but you got a Baptist and Methodist, you got two separate churches. It's hard enough just by doing that. So continue adding more obstacles in the way, it's gonna make it, like Tom said, you streaming way upstream at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be arguing, having different arguments and stuff.
The most difficult part is if you're too devout, whatever your religions are.
Yeah.
Because because the Bible say you'll love you can't have two gods, for you'll hate one and love the other, right? So that's pretty much what we're facing at this point. And so I mean, I think that it can work if you're just claiming that you're these two different religions, but once you actually start practicing these two different religions, that's where the problem comes in. All right, speaking of all this marriage stuff, and this is what we're talking about. Hey, let us know comments. Please put your comment in there. Let us know what you think. Share. We still got about 10 more minutes. But premarital counseling. Hey, Eric, before we get to that, there was something you and I were talking about earlier today, and I told you don't let me forget what that is. Be thinking about that because I forgot. But anyway, premarital. Yeah, I forgot. But it was really good. Premarital counseling. How important is it? Let's talk about it.
Let me jump on that real quick, because me and my wife did it, and it didn't help us worth a damn. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because it's only effective if you go in there being real. We went in there with cliche answers. So when they asked us, what do you think the woman's role is? She says, well, to take care of the home, cook, clean, and all that stuff. Baby, you know you don't do that. So and then when they asked me, we both gave cliche answers instead of being real and true to who we are as individuals, and then allow them to kind of help us or give us some some advice based on what we brought to the table. So yes, it can work, but only if you go in there being real to who you are and what you bring to the table. Because if you go in there giving cliche answers, they're gonna give you responses based off what you telling them, and then you walk away, and that's not you.
I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ace. Go ahead, Ace.
I honestly, I don't think it's necessary, or I don't believe it works. For the simple fact is, what we talked about earlier. What's your normal? What's my normal? I believe that someone can point you in the right direction. Like, hey, you know what? Go to the Bible, read this verse. Go to the Bible. You need to read this book. As far as that, but like said, you go in with your cookie cutter answers, stuff like that, and person that was counseling us was working on number 3. Number 3 was on the way out the door, about to get number 4. So I think it's just a formality. I think a lot of it is ego. Come to me first before I can do this for you. You need to let me, just let me talk and tell you how I feel about it. Did your second wife think that, or did your third wife think that? So me personally, I don't think it's necessary or it helps.
I like to say counseling in a marriage is like a good barber or a hairstylist. You may not always think you need it, but at some point you're gonna go get one. And some people, at some point, you may be growing your hair out, but at some point you're gonna need a cut. You're gonna need an edge up. I know the natural trend is going with the women today. Women are wearing their hair natural. You still go to the beauty salon for different reasons as well. Counseling, I believe, it'll work if you work it. I believe, like Cedric said, you got to be open to it. And I also want to go on record and say, I believe most black people, now I could say all people, but that's a given. But I believe most black people need counseling. That's what I believe. Most black people need counseling, if not for your marriage, for your individual self. That's what I believe.
And let me add to what you're saying, Ty, for myself. I believe premarital counseling is necessary, and it's got to be from a pastor. I think it's helpful from a pastor, but I think like with anything else, you have to do your due diligence, right? You can't just go to any old pastor, like you can't go to any old counselor. Like if you got 2 friends and one friend is giving money, another friend just bought a truck and he made $200 a month. You probably go with the friend that got the money, that they got some financial backing, right? As opposed to the one that just bought a truck $200 a month. So with that being said, do your due diligence, find one that works for you. And again, like I said, and Ace said, you do got to be open to the idea of that. And I think I look at it like this too, in regards to trying to figure out a Christian versus somebody else. The Bible said a Christian is somebody that's peculiar to other people, right? Will be different. Same thing about marriage, in my opinion. Like if you married, you shouldn't act like you're single. But because people act like they're single, and because like Christians act like they're not Christians, people get confused. And it causes confusion among a lot of people. So I'm not surprised that marriage is where it's at right now, because there's a lot of confusion going on around it.
Wow. I think it's a very delicate thing. When I think about counseling in any kind of way, I think about it's like me and my friends, whenever they come to me for some advice, and I'm like, listen, I can open this wound, but I don't know that I can fix what's in there. And I certainly can't, close you back up. So you got to get the proper place. And I think this goes back to what we said originally. Now you got to pray about it. Now you got to ask God to send you to the right person. And I don't necessarily know if it has to be a preacher. I'm with Ace, I remember one time I had a friend of mine trying to tell me about this relationship. Yeah, man, this is what you got to have. And you got to do this. And you got to do that. And he's just been in this relationship for a while.
Was that just me or he froze for everybody?
He froze.
Okay. Please wait, guests. It is just an intermission.
So let's
And
pick
we
it
will
up
be
from
right
right
back.
Think
there.
about it.
I'm
Hey,
sure
what,
what, to say.
what? So then we was talking about the marriage counseling, right? We still on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know his kind of relationship.
Oh,
Look at him. He
Anthony
came back
still
in.
talking.
Look at him
Came
back
back
in.
on- hey, he came back in on that fast forward button.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
pause again.
Yep.
What you got,
Hey,
Ty?
Yeah. So if we're talking about the marriage counseling, I want to know, did anybody touch on, do you think that's a requirement before couples get married? Do you think couples should at least be willing to give that a chance before they get married?
I think
Or
to
were
each
we
his
just
own.
talking about while you're married, go get counseling?
Well, no, we talking about premarital, but
Yeah.
you know, we start talking about the other. I think it's to each his own. I don't think it should be a requirement, but I think you shouldn't knock it. You know, even though I feel the way I feel, I don't think you should knock it. You know, because to each his own. And now let me clear it up because you made a good point. I believe in counseling. I believe in therapy.
Mhm.
I don't believe in the premarital.
Tell us why. I gotta hear this. Why?
Because the premarital.
Because I should have. Yeah.
Because like I said, what's your normal? You know, some people, just because somebody's a man of God doesn't mean that they're, you know, they can still be a work in progress. You know, we all sinners. Like I said, the pastor that did our counseling, he was working on wife number 3. You know, I put it like this: I have good friends that's pastors. They run around like some of my friends that's in the streets. You know, and things like that. But as a pastor, you come in from that
Park
counsel,
Avenue, huh?
yeah. You know, they got on $400,000 worth of jewelry in the pulpit. You know, getting robbed. But you know, so I just, that premarital one, I don't think that should be a requirement, because what's your normal? What's my normal? You know, you trying to tell me what works for you in your third marriage?
I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound, me being a Christian and a believer, this might sound crazy, but I'm just gonna be real, because I've always been real. Every now and then, I don't want to hear what thus saith the Lord. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't want to hear. I don't want
That's
the
human
biblical.
nature.
Yeah, I don't want the biblical advice. So maybe premarital counseling would have been different for me if I did church and outside the church. And I'm just being honest, because, like I said, we didn't go in there. We went in there with cliche answers, but every answer we gave, it went to scripture, and I get that. I'm not knocking that. I'm a believer and all that, and I get that. But there are moments when I'm pissed off, and in that moment, it's a struggle. I'm not thinking about no damn scripture. I'm just being honest with you. So I need that person that may be outside of that. Not saying they're a non-believer, but can give me that human element that still falls under the line of the ingredients that we put in: the respect, the love, the communication, all that.
Yeah.
Y'all done ran good enough talking about this counseling. He couldn't take it.
I don't know what happened. I'm sorry, y'all. First time on rebranders. Hey, look here. I thank y'all for the show. I appreciate y'all for keeping the party moving. When I was gone, I saw Sid talking. Whew, that was interesting. That was kind of. It's hot in here. Is it just me?
Hey, yo, Ace, who do we have on the show next week?
I'm discussing the topics that have to deal with the black family. You know, the food or the drink is good when the person says swallow instead of swallow. We're going to have an interview with Liberians with Tourette syndrome. And the name of the show is going to be titled Breaking the Rules. We will have their mics muted most of the time. Married couples that swing at the playground. Are they confused or just risk takers? Giggity. We'll see how that goes. You know,
Adrian, the Ace Stinson, and the rest of the rebrandUS crew live Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central on YouTube and Instagram at rebrandUS Podcast, Facebook at rebrandUS, or rebrandUS.org.
I work too hard. Look, I work too hard for this stuff, man.
All right, well, we're back.
Hey,
okay.
Crazy, man.
Hey, yo, Ace, who do we have on the show next week?
Oh, next week, everybody, make sure y'all tune in. We're gonna have a great show. I've been in the streets interviewing some good people. This thought we kind of changed the pace. So next week, we're actually gonna talk to auto mechanics with clean hands. The hell you been doing all day?
Please, because that's a conundrum.
Auto mechanics.
With
What
clean fingernails.
Clean hands, fingernail. What the hell you been doing all day?
Yeah.
Hey, we got a very interesting show. We're going to talk about reckless assumptions. What does that mean? Reckless assumptions.
Sound good though.
Anyway, hey, look here. For all the people who sent in the comments, I think we had Janique, we had Tony and Deborah Goodson, Kim. I can't remember. Am I missing somebody else? There's a few other people. We appreciate y'all.
Oh yeah, Shauna
Sams, absolutely, and all of those who are listening right now. Hey, Talkin Wellness. You know we always appreciate y'all being on the show, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
This is always our most fun show.
Thank y'all, man.
I gotta say, we compete with y'all quite a bit. It's like we,
is that right?
We need. And I hope that y'all kind of see that same thing with us because we love what y'all got going on over there. Everybody, tomorrow night, 7:00 p.m. Talkin Wellness. That's with Ty, that's with Helen, that's with Said. They'll be on. I don't know what they're talking about tomorrow, but I can guarantee it's gonna be fire. I can guarantee. But hey, look here, for Kim's absence and the rest of the crew, we appreciate everybody for being on. See y'all next week. Reckless assumptions.